Hello and happy Wednesday. Our Cowboys also brought to you by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds and Texas Cheer Liquor. My name is RJ Ochoa. I am posted up with the SA Sports Star crew here on the tennis courts at the River Ridge Golf Facility in Oxnard, California. Wednesday, August 2nd is going to be a very busy day. It's already been a busy day here on 94.1. Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn stopped by this morning, R&R in the morning specifically with Rob Thompson and Rudy J. I don't know how they made it, but they did. We have some very important people headed this way in a little bit. You'll hear from Dallas Cowboys EVP Stephen Jones with Jason Minix and Joe Reinagle. We'll have all that for you. Stephon Gilmore, former Defensive Player of the Year, perhaps the best cornerback on this team. All that coming your way and more. So saddle up, get comfortable. The Dallas Cowboys are off today, but we are not. We are here. We are moving. We are grooving. Last night we were at the media party in Nobu in Malibu, and it was a ton of fun. Great fun, actually, just kind of seeing the waves, the ocean crash. It's not hard to live out here in California. I mean, it's expensive, but it's not hard. The Cowboys wrapped up their second padded practice of training camp yesterday. And it was a ton of fun. You obviously heard from us on the wireless mic out there. I had a few takeaways myself, some observations, some thoughts, points of concern, points of interest. I wrote about those, and we'll get to those throughout the conversation here over the next 2 hours. Biggest takeaway from me is that Dak Prescott is in fuego. Yesterday was Dak Prescott's day. Dak Prescott kind of owned the day, and I feel like the Cowboys offense is finally starting to match the intensity that the defense is bringing. There was a lot of jawing going on back and forth between the offense and defense, some things that we're not allowed to say here on the radio, and it was fun. It was all good-natured. It was all in good fun. These are two impressive units, I think, both very well within the top 5 across the NFL, top 5 offense, top 5 defense. It's a big reason why people have so many high expectations for the Cowboys in 2023. We also heard from Ronald Jones. He explained that his 2-game PED suspension was a bit of an accident. He took something that was prescribed to him. There was something in there. He declined to go into, really intimate details, but he said it wasn't a steroid issue. So that's what Ronald Jones had to say about that. I am at a place now where I really believe the Cowboys have 4 tried and true wide receivers that can contribute to them significantly. Obviously, we all know about CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and Brandon Cooks. But man alive, Jalen Tolbert, the hype is really, really, really real. He had a great day yesterday. But the thing is, the Cowboys have had great days from a number of wide receivers on their roster. They've obviously got those 4 that we all believe in. Simi Fehoko didn't practice yesterday, has an injury that he's kind of taken some time to nurse. So we're certainly sending him some well wishes. KaVontae Turpin was involved offensively yesterday. If you don't know a lot about KaVontae Turpin's story, maybe you kind of forgot. He joined the team last year during training camp. He was the reigning USFL MVP, joined the Cowboys, was kind of this return specialist, and it didn't really seem like it was going to be anything real. Lo and behold, he took off in the preseason. There was actually a preseason game in Los Angeles against the Chargers where KaVontae had 2 return touchdowns, and it was so impressive that he got the veteran treatment and was allowed to take off his pads midway through the game. Didn't have a return touchdown during the regular season or the postseason, obviously, but he did set the Cowboys up with some promising field position. And while all of that is cool and all of that is fun, I mean, we really want to see KaVontae utilized offensively. In fact, KaVontae said over the course of the offseason leading up to the Super Bowl, things like that, that he was going to force the Cowboys to use him offensively, meaning that he was going to give them a reason, et cetera, et cetera. And we've seen that. I mean, I'm ready to give KaVontae a firm written in pen spot on the 53-man roster. And so, if you're counting Simi Fehoko, you're up now to 6 wide receivers. Jalen Moreno-Cropper, the undrafted free agent, he's popped out here at camp. Jalen Brooks, the 7th-round draft pick out of South Carolina, he's popped out here. Dennis Houston, who I think we forgot about, who did make the 53-man roster, he popped yesterday. A year ago during training camp, it was hyped up and talked so much about how he had this really great chemistry with Dak Prescott specifically, and we saw that again on display here. So the Cowboys have some really good problems where they're trying to figure out who they're going to keep, where they're going to go long, what positions, et cetera, et cetera. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of roster gymnastics they play to sneak as many guys as possible onto the practice squad. And again, I think that breathes optimism or life into the idea of optimism on the offensive side of the going to be very, very, very good. Mike McCarthy did a great job of dispelling the notion that, the Cowboys were going to run the ball and whatever the case may be last weekend. Obviously, he had that quote back in February, March at the NFL Combine. This is an offense that is going to throw the ball, going to move vertically. They have the personnel to do it. I mean, even yesterday during practice, Tony Pollard was incorporated so much in the passing game. We've seen Deuce Vaughn get utilized there as well. I mean, the quickest way to the end zone is due north. And so I think the Cowboys understand that and are finally starting to embrace that in a totally and completely different way. Defensively, takeaways from our 2 days out here. Remember, the Cowboys are off today. They'll be back at practice on Thursday, and that will be a whole lot of fun. We'll do the same sort of thing, same sort of song and dance, wireless mic, et cetera, et cetera. But defensively, I got to say, it's getting a little annoying how good Micah Parsons is because he just kind of ruins everything. It's hard to get this team or for this team to get an opportunity to kind of run a play because Micah is too dominant and kind of ruining everything at every single turn. But he's not the only one. DeMarcus Lawrence is having a lot of success to this point. We've seen, Jaron Kearse is really loud and positive and really kind of giving the Cowboys everything that they expected on the back end, especially with Donovan Wilson out and Izzy Mukuamu out. Leighton Vander Esch has kind of been his stable presence. Mozzie Smith is coming along. Osa Digizua is looking great. Neville Gallimore. Again, the Cowboys just kind of, status quo for a team that's currently dealing with injuries to three players. That's Donovan Wilson, Israel Mukuamu, as mentioned, and Sam Williams, who popped up with a shoulder strain on Monday. He was a part of individual drills yesterday. I mean, if you think about it, this team is technically dealing with a lot. They have three significant contributors, one starter, obviously, and Wilson on the defensive side of the ball that are all dealing with something. And you can make an argument that Zach Martin is their best player on the roster. He's not even here. He's holding out. So you're dealing with all that stuff, and yet you wouldn't know it. I mean, the vibe is very positive. The emotions and the feelings are kind of off the chart right now for the team and everyone around them. And so that is a great thing to kind of feel and to experience live and up close and in person. And so it sounds cliche, but you can totally feel that in the conversations that we're having here on San Antonio Sports Star. Dan Quinn earlier today, I thought, spoke really glowingly of the team and kind of the overall thoughts, the overall vibes, et cetera, et cetera. And part of that is being out here in Oxnard, and that's something Dan Quinn agrees with.
There is a real advantage to coming away. I know it's, for you guys, traveling all the way out here, but there's a connection that takes place. There's some things just being away together as a group. You may not be able to quantify it and put a number on it, the importance that, can't measure that. But I would say this connection that they have, they're in between meetings or at night or being together, it integrates your team as good as you can. And so when it gets to, late January where they're, in a playoff game and loud as hell and, there's about 2 minutes left and, it's 13-13 when you're connected in that way, not just like, this guy is a teammate, but like you got love for this guy because like you've put it in together, you spent the time.
I've seen in your chumness in the middle of the night.
Some of that happens here.
Or at training camp.
Yes.
That's Dan Quinn, who you heard this morning on R&R in the morning on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. And I agree with him. You know how it is. I mean, you go even on vacation, right? I feel like after every vacation, the group involved kind of takes a picture that's like, we did it. We survived. And I'll say like, I would trust Joe Reinaga with my life after just the few days we spent together. And, we're bonding. We're all getting closer. And so I can totally see how if you're out here with your teammates and your brothers for a month, how that would kind of fortify and solidify the relationships. Iron sharpens iron and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But it really is about connection and relationships. We talked a little bit, just kind of briefly yesterday about the Houston Astros trading for Justin Verlander. One of the best stories that I've heard out of that team this year is the relationship between Mauricio Dubon and Yordan Alvarez. And it was kind of birthed out of them playing dominoes, things like that. Those things are important. Those things happen. And it's out here in the dog days of summer where they ultimately, kind of come together. But Dan Quinn is not new to this. As amazing as it is, this is his third year with the team. I know it's kind of flown by. And early on, I think people were skeptical just because it was his first post since being the head coach of the Falcons in 28-3 and all that stuff. But here we stand in the third year of operation under Dan Quinn, and he is a little bit more comfortable.
I think it's you feel where you're not, back to the bottom of the hill. We're now kind of like at like a base camp, and you go back to that space because so many players have had some experience. We know each other well, and we've got a lot to prove. And so we're not starting at ground one. And so it's definitely harder for the new player this year than the new player 3 years ago. So the Micah and Osa and Chauncey and Bose in class and Kelvin, that class, they weren't so far behind the veterans because they had only had the off season to put the information in. And like remember Law, yelling at these other guys, come on, man. They know this, fill in the blank better than we do.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense too. With time, you develop a system and you develop a routine and you develop a teaching tool, right? Like Dan Quinn has a syllabus now. And I think it's also, it's easier when you have stars, like he mentioned Micah Parsons and Osa Odighizuwa. They were a part of that first draft class that the Cowboys had with Dan Quinn in tow, Kelvin Joseph, Nahshon Wright, Chauncey Golston. Those were the defender, Bill Cox. Obviously, it's cool. It's cool to see, how they've kind of laid the foundation for someone like, yesterday DaRon Bland was on R&R in the morning and talked about how Eric Scott Jr. is the rookie on the defensive side of the ball who has the most potential to kind of take off and do something significant. And part of the reason that things like that can be true is because of the work that's been put in by the young players before, the path that they've laid, the ground that they've laid, so to speak. So that is very awesome. But Dan Quinn was rocking some Jordans. I don't know that Rob and Rudy mentioned that specifically. I don't know that Dan Quinn is a Wemby fan. I think that's maybe our assignment is to kind of find out before we leave here. But he is an NBA fan, and he is a fan of how the NBA specifically develops players and kind of a fan of incorporating that overall idea and logic into the NFL.
I think the NBA has done a good job of, developing players, and I'm certainly interested into that to see how they take somebody, and sometimes they may only had 1 year of college or none, and work them up, and how do they go and utilize those players to keep improving? Because to me, development sometimes gets a bad word where it's not just the younger player. Like we're developing all the guys.
Absolutely.
Like Micah's developing. He's getting better. Jaron Kearse is developed. Like there's always things that they work on to get better at. And so you don't want to think, if you think, hey, I made it, I don't have to work anymore, like say goodbye.
That's really well said, right? Like, who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? And, one of the players, one of the defenders most long in the tooth on this team is Stephon Gilmore, who will be joining 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star in a little bit. We're very excited to talk to Stephon Gilmore. I think Jason just ordered a custom Stephon Gilmore jersey. Either that or he ordered a Zeke Elliott one and is going to change the name on the back. As a man of cost cutting and efficiency. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, so we'll see. Well, if he's back, they're going to give him 15 and sell all those jerseys. But anyway, Stephon Gilmore is going to be here in just a little bit, and Dan Quinn is super pumped about Stephon Gilmore. Even mentioned a pool party.
Yeah, pool party. The pool party time. It was a nice addition, and I had heard a lot about the man as well as the ball player. A number of people texted me, said, Dan, this is a great guy. I remember, Matt Ryan who played with him in Indy, or just, like players that texted me, other coaches that texted me to say, hey, man, you got one here. And I've seen that when he has something to share with a teammate, whether it's on offense or defense, he's so willing to do that. And so when you add the ball player and the man of that caliber, it expounds into other, parts of your defense.
Very, very, very cool. Stephon Gilmore is an interesting person. He was at Wimbledon about a month ago, whenever that wrapped up. So I don't know if that will come up. We are on the tennis courts, after all. So, it would stand to reason that it would. But, we'll see when we get there. We are getting closer, though. Our Dallas Cowboys training camp coverage, our AA Best Bail Bonds Dallas Cowboys training camp coverage, also brought to you by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds and Texas Cheer Liquor, rolls on here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The guys are on the road again. This time, San Antonio sports star travels to Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, California.
Deep down the right side. Oh, it's caught!
With the full support of AA Best Bail Bonds, providing complete backup for any of those things that happen while on the road. Nobody provides better coverage of training camp than 94.1 San Antonio sports star.
Left side of the end zone. Touchdown!
We'll hear from the players, coaches, be right in the middle of the media frenzy, and Cowboys training camp live from Oxnard, California. Presented by AA Best Bail Bonds, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, Texas Cheer Liquor, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, and sasportstar.com.
The only gun show left in San Antonio returns to the Shriner Auditorium, 1604 in Blanco. Can't make it this weekend? This Friday, Texas Gun Shows is open 4 to 7 p.m. and 10 to 5 Saturday and 10 to 4 Sunday. Texas Gun Shows, Shriner Auditorium, this Friday through Sunday.
For over a decade, SimpliSafe has revolutionized home security, and our latest advancement is here, 24/7 LiveGuard protection, only from SimpliSafe. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
My name is Jessica. Years ago, I was diagnosed with a thyroid condition. I slept all the time, was fatigued, had no energy, and a bad attitude. Now I've lost 50 pounds and I'm still losing. My medications have been scaled back, my emotions are stable, and I have lots of energy. People at work say I'm happy, perky, and my husband says he's not walking on eggshells around me any longer. The Institute for Functional Health changed my life.
Call for your complimentary consultation, 210-468-1891. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health.
You know you have hard water. This is Chris Canepa with Connecticut and San Antonio in the Hill Country. And for just around $1 a day, the hard water gets softened away with a professional whole house water softener from Connecticut. Soften your water, spare your hair, and protect your clothing. It's so affordable for around $1 a day. Finally eliminate those hard water spots on your granite countertop and shower. So don't delay. Visit ConnecticutSA.com. Some people get caught in a cycle of wasting money on other softeners that continually break and leave them disappointed. With a Connecticut, you will actually invest your money into something that lasts and works again and again. It's why Dave Ramsey recommends Connecticut and why we say it's the last water softener you'll ever own. A Connecticut water softener is up to 80% more efficient than competing models, and it's the water softener in South Texas you can depend on. Call my team at 210-656-PURE or online at ConnecticutSA.com.
ConnecticutSA.com.
Hi, everybody. Joe Reinagle here. I want to take a moment to talk to you about advertising on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Yeah, we get this question quite a bit. Here's what you have to do. Contact Morgan Harrison via email. It's morgan.harrison@alphamediausa.com. From there, she's going to have one of our folks connect with you on how you can advertise right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Or since Alpha Media is a full-service advertising company, online, other radio stations, and even television, since that's just about all through the internet. Happy connecting.
Hi, April Ansira here from the Ansira Auto Group.
And I'm Danielle Gunter, Executive Director of Texas Yes, here to tell you about Drive Away for Education raffle.
With your purchase of a raffle ticket, you'll be directly benefiting students in schools across the state. And the winner will choose from a new Chevy, Nissan, Jeep, Volkswagen, or Kia. Sponsored by the Ansira Auto Group.
Purchase your raffle ticket today at texasyesproject.org. Winner responsible for tax, title, and license and federal withholding tax.
If you're a man and you live in San Antonio or the surrounding areas, you need to pay close attention to what I'm about to say. Are you having issues rising to the occasion? Do you constantly worry about whether or not you can perform? Have you completely stopped having adult time? Is it something you just don't talk about? Guys, we have a solution. Mojo, the 100% guaranteed male enhancement pill that's fast, effective, and was designed to reignite passion, performance, and confidence in the bedroom. Yeah. Be ready at a moment's notice with the Mojo Male Enhancement Pill from Pure Line Nutrition. And for those of you who have used Mojo, check out Mojo Enduramax. Touchdown! A new formula that improves the potency and effectiveness of Mojo. Get fast results, last longer, and be the man she'll never forget. Mojo and Mojo Enduramax. 100% natural male enhancement formulas only available at Pure Line Nutrition. Call now, 210-494-2210. That's 210-494-2210. Or visit us online at thepureline.com.
The Jim Rome Show is coming to San Antonio.
He's great. He's awesome. The guy's insane.
The Jim Rome Show debuts Monday, August 14th at 12 noon on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back to the Cowboys here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Posted up on the tennis courts at the River Ridge in Oxnard, California. Our AA Best Bail Bonds Dallas Cowboys training camp coverage also brought to you by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds and Texas Cheer Liquor. We're about halfway through the week. It's kind of like, I mean, I know that they have that fancy term for Wednesdays, hump day, whatever. This is kind of the hump day point of content around here. But we're starting the second half pretty strong in just a little bit. I mean, very, very, very short amount of time. Dallas Cowboys Executive Vice President Stephen Jones scheduled to join us. I'll hop off. Jason Minix and Joe Reiniger will be hopping on. Joe is on now.
Yeah, what day did you say it was?
I said it's hump day.
Hump day? That's the Camel says in the Geico commercial.
You were very excited to do that?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you know. That's how we say it here on Sports Star.
Well, if you're gonna do the whole commercial, you gotta do the Mike.
Well, that was your part.
No, I didn't know that. I mean, we didn't
dude, you got to go on the fly. We adjust. We move.
That's what I just did. I just adjusted and moved.
But just do it. You told everybody. If you'd have just said Mike, it would have been a lot better.
I honestly don't remember the part that you're talking about from the commercial.
Yeah, the Camel goes in. He says, "Hey, Mike, what day is it?" And then he finally says it. Hump day.
Is that the most famous commercial of all time?
I think it's one of the best. Yes.
Up there with the Clydesdales?
I don't know. I prefer this one, and of all the ones that they do, and they're pretty talented.
Right.
But that one I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was very clever.
We put the Hump Day Camel, the Clydesdales, the Geico Gecko, and the E-Trade Baby. That's like the foursome.
Well, the best Geico one, or with the lizard, is when he does the gecko. What's a lizard, right?
That's a gecko. So that's the bit. It's a Geico Gecko.
Well, when he does the hot wings, and he licks his finger, and it's hot as hell. And
you ever done the Hot Ones challenge?
No. Well, I ate a ghost pepper.
Well, but you got to do the Hot Ones challenge with the Da Bomb. They sell the spices. We can do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
I like spicy stuff, but I don't want to be miserable.
What's the spiciest thing you could ask Steven?
The spiciest thing I could ask Steven?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I know. I'm prepping you.
Wow, thanks.
You're in the batting cage right now. I'm the guy, I'm throwing behind that weird like half fence thing.
Well, fortunately, we talk to Steven during the season every week, so we got a relationship.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so
we bonded.
Right. Maybe you do the hump day thing to him.
You think he'd know?
I think he would.
He would probably know that.
He might not know that.
He might appreciate it.
Yeah. I don't.
Maybe he could do one too.
That's true. Maybe he knows that the Geico thing is a gecko and not a lizard. There's a difference.
What's the difference between a gecko and a lizard?
I'm not a reptilianologist, assuming that's a word, but I presume that there is a difference between them.
Well, maybe it's just a kind of lizard.
That's true. But what if somebody was like, oh, hey, human? Like, that's just a kind of Joe. You know what I mean? Like, would you respond to the name human?
Well, I mean, it's a little bit different, too. Like sharks, you have all kinds of different sharks.
Hammerhead, great white.
Right.
That's really it. I don't have a lot
Tiger.
of That's true. Baby.
You got a nurse shark.
There's a
baby
nurse?
shark, yeah. Mako.
Do we say hammerhead? I think we said hammerhead.
We said hammerhead, yeah. Somebody pledge you writing this down. I mean, so we don't get confused.
What we should do is, what we should do? We're in California. We should go get like shark teeth necklaces. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like a real vacation thing you do when you go visit the water.
Puka shells.
Or that. You know what I mean? Like it'll be 2002 again. We'll pop our collars. We'll go to American Eagle.
Dude, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a man of the 80s.
That's not 2002.
Well, I know, but the 80s, they were popular. Things go away and then they come back.
There was some music on the bus last night. I don't know that you heard it.
I didn't hear it. I was taking a nap, and I'm pretty happy I did because I understand there was a lot of
it was a liquid
reversal coming up.
So first of all, Rudolph says here, not the reindeer. Rudolph Gonzalez says on the YouTube chat, a gecko is actually an amphibian. A lizard is a reptile.
Oh.
Look at that.
So which one is the gecko guy? Is he a
Geico? It's a gecko. That's why
a gecko.
Yeah. So the Geico thing is.
So that's not a reptile.
No, it's an amphibian.
Amphibian.
Yeah.
So that means it can swim.
I think reptiles can swim. I mean, there's like a lot
like
of
an
reptiles.
alligator.
Yeah, or like a snake.
Is an alligator a reptile
or a crocodile?
These are the problems we solve on San Antonio Sports Star on a daily basis.
Well, here's the thing: we got to weed this junk out,
right?
So that when Steven comes on, it's out.
It's out of there, right?
We're just purging. That's really what we're doing.
Well, sure, and I think it's interesting.
Yeah, but
I don't know if people listening think it's interesting, but I do.
Back to the music. When you were asleep, there was a song by the Outfield. Josie was on a vacation, very far away.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
okay.
You were.
She's been gone a long time, actually.
Yeah, she was very, very far off. That was the song that was playing.
Right.
I mentioned 2002. I know you're gonna know this song. It was this really cool mix. I actually need to hit up the people we were with and find out what mix it was.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the song "Pieces of Me" by Ashley Simpson?
No.
It was,
but I have a hard time with titles. You play the song, I've probably heard it, but I mean titles, I don't connect as much.
I have a very difficult time with lyrics.
Oh yeah.
So my wife and I will be listening to a song, and I'm like, I love this song, and she's like, it's such a horrible message. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I never
listen to the words.
Listen, I know the words, but I never listen to the actual meaning. I'm like, oh, this is about something terrible, and I didn't even know that. So I'm kind of with you on that front. Jim says, can we get your take on the sandwich yesterday? My sandwich has gotten a lot of pop here.
Well, yeah, I don't understand a man that doesn't like mustard. That bothers me, and I really. Well, I didn't lose sleep over it, but
you definitely didn't. No, you were not struggling to sleep.
Well, that was the free drinks at Nobu that had a lot to do with that.
See, what's interesting is there was a lot of sushi there. I don't mind a spicy mustard on some sushi rolls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but regular mustard, it's gross. It smells gross. It looks gross.
So would you've done spicy mustard on your sandwich?
No, I want it there with the it has to blend with the the avocado and the little cucumber bits and the rice and the eel skin or whatever, and the soy sauce. It's an aura. It's a vibe.
That sushi was actually pretty good last night.
We said that there was not a bite on that plate that we didn't like.
No, I mean everything. Chicken. There was some little tenderloin.
Yeah, there was also the tenderloin was great.
Yeah,
and we ate it all with chopsticks as well.
We did.
Yeah,
there were no forks. I guess you could have asked for a fork, but that would have been embarrassing.
There was also a hazmat situation prior to the bus ride. But remember when the drink broke? There was somebody broke a drink. And I didn't even know this. This waitress came up, and good for her. She was like, I have to evacuate every single drink.
Every drink. I got to get you another one.
Yeah, she was like,
and that really irritated Rob Thompson because he was just, he looked at me and he said, hey, grab my drink real quick. And it was too late. She'd already snagged it.
Yeah, but it was strange, because it broke on the floor. And I guess it's some sort of safety protocol. She had to get everything out in a 10-foot radius. So she did. And it was really nice of her.
The service last night was fantastic.
It was divine.
They were all over the place. I will ask Steven, and I will thank him, because when we first got there and we got to take a break.
Yeah, we got to take a break.
Let's do that quick.
Because you're going to ask Steven a few things.
I'm going to ask him, yeah.
Steven Jones coming up in just a minute on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's R&R in the morning.
Thursday on R&R in the morning, we're joined by head coach Mike McCarthy, and we also discuss what we heard from Stephon Gilmore and Steven Jones with the blitz, and the boys will be back on the field to practice and get to see those pads cracking.
You left off Dan Quinn. He sat in that seat, too. The seats stay hot. The guests keep coming as Dallas Cowboys training camp continues. The party starts at 6.
It's your wake-up call. R&R in the morning, 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
If you own a small to medium-sized business that kept employees on payroll through COVID, you may have a big cash refund waiting for you. The Employee Retention Credit is a tax credit of up to $26,000 per employee. And now, more businesses than ever qualify. The experts at RefundsPro.com specialize in cutting through the red tape of qualifying for this government program. Most of their refunds are over $100,000. Even businesses that have received PPP funds may be eligible. And there are absolutely no fees unless you receive a refund. So there's no reason not to apply. If your business experienced shutdowns, limited capacity, supply chain challenges, or reduced revenue due to COVID, you likely qualify. RefundsPro.com has already helped hundreds of businesses. So don't lose the refund you're owed by missing the deadline. Get started today with a free 5-minute questionnaire at RefundsPro.com. That's refunds with an S, pro.com.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I've always gotten a ton of UTIs. I tried everything. Cranberry products never worked. I felt like I had no choices and constant anxiety. I needed a better option. I'm Jenna Ryan, founder of Eucora.
Eucora's science-backed supplements give you the support you need to stay healthy. And if you get a UTI, Eucora's UTI emergency kit helps you test for a UTI and manage your symptoms until you can see a doctor. All of Eucora's supplements were built in collaboration with doctors and scientists, leveraging the latest in urinary health research using ingredients found in nature.
Eucora can help put the power back in your hands. Get your life back with Eucora.
Try Eucora today. Get 30% off your first Eucora order when you go to eucora.com/radio. That's eucora.com/radio to get 30% off. eucora.com/radio.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Ribs, burgers, chicken. Submit what you grilled or smoked, and you could win a $50 gift card from Tri-County Meat Market.
So good and tasty.
Grilling with the Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagle. I'm Jason Minutes. Our AA Best Bail Bonds Dallas Cowboys training camp coverage continues in Oxnard with Stephen Jones joining us here. Good morning, Stephen. How are you, sir?
Good morning, guys. Great to be on with you. That's great to have you here. Normally we do this over the phone during the season, but it's good to be able to do this in person. Absolutely. I always enjoy being on with you guys, and let's have a fun time here.
Well, yeah, talk about fun times, man. Thank you for last night. You know, the media party at Nobu is legendary. You know, he's well appreciated for sure.
Well, we enjoy getting to have a little sushi, and what a great atmosphere that is, overlooking the Pacific right there. It doesn't get any better than that. And, of course, some great food and drinks and a good time.
A good time for sure. And a lot of conversation, and you're probably tired of being asked about Zach Martin, but, you know, that's the big story, the only drama this year in Dallas Cowboys training camp.
Well, Zach is, you know, he's just, you can't say enough great things about what he stands for. He's, when you draw up a first-round pick for an owner, for a general manager, for an organization, you hope that's what they turn out to be. He's had a Hall of Fame career. He's still playing at a high level. I told him he's a unicorn to be playing, you know, at this level, you know, at his age. And but he does everything the right way. He's been a soldier. He's a great teammate. He's a leader. He does everything the right way.
You know, I don't know how you guys do it, Stephen. I'll be honest with you, but the Dallas Cowboys, if they do one thing very well, you draft well. And so you've got a lot of guys that you got to take care of. So does something like this kind of throw things off a little bit? How do you handle all of that?
Well, that's you know, that's the biggest thing of all. It's you know, it has an effect on the whole team. And you know, if this was just about Zach, this would be easy. And but unfortunately, we don't have. You know, we've got a salary cap, and we've got to work around that. And as you mentioned, we've been very fortunate to draft well. We have a lot of young players that have had a lot of success on good football teams. We just signed Diggs. Certainly, you know, we got our eyes set on CD, who's coming up and available. You know, he's certainly qualifies to be redone now. And then, you know, you got other guys who are in the last year, a guy like a Steele, a guy like a Dorrance Armstrong. All those guys are in the mix. And then we know there's one out here who's wrecking the practice every day, number 11, who'll be looming next year. Yeah. So, there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to this, but and I know Zach and his team are aware of that as well. But this is the part the fans, no one likes to talk about or wish it weren't involved, but there is real business involved in this game.
And you mentioned the business side of football as we visit with Stephen Jones here on the Blitz. And it is that part. Every fan, me, Joe, just pay the man. I mean, he's a guy that has outperformed his contract, but I know it's not that easy. You've said before, when we've talked about different contracts through the years, always set precedent. How much does that factor in?
Well, I mean, that's the hard part here. Zach's under contract, and, he's been paid really well, since he's come in the game. He was a top 12 pick and, was paid really well under his rookie contract. And then we made him the highest paid at his position, which he remained there for quite some time. So, sometimes it's real hard to thread the needle to where your pay was always commensurate with your play. There's been a lot of great players in this game have to play for a little less than what's on the contract. But like I said, that's a business between Zach and the team. And, we've got to focus on what's going on here at camp.
When you look at the acquisitions this year with Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks and the team that you already have with some of the young players that we've mentioned, do you look at this year as obviously a golden opportunity to get to Las Vegas come February?
I mean, we've put this team together when you got a great quarterback like Dak Prescott. You feel like you're in it every year, and as we should be. And I do think we've got a good foundation put around Dak. But Dak sets the tone year in and year out. He epitomizes the insatiable appetite to want to be great. I mean, that's what he works to do. He knows he can improve upon some things from last year, and I know that he will. Certainly, we're doing some things differently with Coach McCarthy now calling the plays and really putting his fingerprints all over this offense, if you will. But I just think this team has a great opportunity here, and we've put together two really good regular seasons. But we got to take the next step in the playoffs, and that means winning some big games in the playoffs that we haven't been able to get done the last couple of years.
Stephen Jones joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. You look at this roster complete in all phases. Is there a position group that is getting a lot more attention during meetings, especially when you start figuring out who's actually going to make the 53?
Well, it's as competitive a roster that I've been around in quite some time. I mean, usually these things work themselves out. I still see log jams, at some of the position groups. It's a competitive. There's a group all around that we've been around. Obviously, we've got some young kickers out there, and so that one's not clear cut. It'll be a great competition out there to see who ultimately ends up kicking, whether it's the competition here at camp or, as we tell players all the time, you're also competing around other players around the league because not everybody can keep all their players. And there's certainly sometimes great opportunities, just like there were with Gilmore and Brooks, to improve your football team. So, it's just been a very competitive camp. And, we got young guys who are making some plays out on the field. Brooks, the receiver, is going to push that group. That's an obvious group with the first three, but then that fourth, fifth, sixth spot. And then you got, a guy like Turpin holding down one of the spots because of his dynamic return ability. But, that's going on, whether it's the defensive line, the linebackers, Overshown, our UT linebacker that we picked in the third round, is having a great camp. So in general, it's just very competitive, and that's how you become great is the competition there. Everybody's got to be on top of their game, and it's good stuff.
And you talk about some of the position groups, and I look at say a Rico Dowdle. You've kept him around for a couple of years, even though he's dealt with some injuries. I look at kind of that short yardage back type situation. You've kept him around because you like him, right? I mean, so tell me about the running back room behind Tony Pollard.
Well, you got him and Malik, and certainly Deuce Vaughn has been turning some heads out there.
Dude, I'm a tall 5'7". I love what I'm seeing out of Deuce. He's more than just a gadget guy, isn't he?
He is, and he's got great instincts as a running back, and he made some cuts out there. I know, or certainly defensively, we're not taking him to the ground, but I think they were calling him down maybe when in a real game they might not would have gotten him down right there. So, he's another one that's going to push, on this roster to make things difficult. But we do. I thought Malik had a great year for us last year. He came in and, took Rico's spot when he got hurt, and then he wouldn't let it go. So Malik's having a great camp. And then, of course, TP speaks for itself. I mean, he's going to get more touches, and I think just more production because he's a dynamic player. I think Mike's got some great thoughts on how to get him the ball in space too, where he's, where he can really use that juice. But, I think we underestimate TP, how good a short yardage runner he was too. I mean, he hits it up in there, got great instincts and feel for the, where the creases are. And, I think he's going to be a great number one back for us.
Yeah, when you look at Tony Pollard, Stephen, blocking, Zeke was so good at blocking in the backfield. Is Tony underrated in that position?
I think he is. I think he gets the job done there, and certainly can do that well for us. And now Zeke was rare at it. I give hats off to Zeke. I mean, Zeke's such a competitor, and nothing but respect for him and what he did for us and his career here in Dallas. But I do think we can get the job done.
You mentioned with Tony Pollard, kind of back to some contract stuff at the opening press conference here in Oxnard, that you had offered Tony Pollard a long-term deal, and obviously he opted to play on the franchise tag. Were you surprised that he is here on the tag and not on a longer-term deal, and how much does that concern you moving forward?
No, I have respect for that. I mean, certainly I'm sure TP thinks if he puts together a big year as the number one back, that he can maybe create more value. And certainly he's a young guy. He doesn't have a lot of tread on his tires because, as we all know, Zeke took the heavy part of the load the last, since Tony's been in the league. But I certainly see where they're coming from. Nothing but respect for it. But like I said, we offered him a deal, and he feels like, he can improve upon that.
Stephen, Jerry said that Zeke is still a possibility. Is he a possibility here?
Absolutely. Anybody who's a free agent, that can improve our football team, if the business is right, then, there can always be an opportunity here. I mean, no one can think more of Zeke Elliott than the Cowboys organization, and, Mike and Jerry and Will and myself just have nothing but respect for him.
Stephen Jones joining us here on The Blitz. Before we let you go, Stephen, I want to ask you a question more about the business side of running a franchise. Talks in San Antonio with Wemby, now a member of the San Antonio Spurs, about a downtown arena with an entertainment district. You travel around, you see that all over the country. You guys have done that in Frisco. Talk about why that is so important from a team aspect to have the entertainment district around the stadium or arena.
Well, from just the team, you got to make sure they can get done what they need to get done, which is be prepared to win a championship. The entertainment district, in our minds, more for the fans. I think the players do enjoy it. A lot of our guys live, work, and play right there. They've got homes either right around the Star, and actually some of them actually live in 12, the high rise. That we're partners with, number 12, Roger Staubach, the number 12. But anyway, it's I think it's fantastic for our fans. And then, as it turns out, our players seem to enjoy it. They don't have to get in their cars. They can walk to work. They can, of course, have a nice dinner anywhere they're in the district. They're welcomed. We've got a Cowboys club that they enjoy as well. So, I think it's great for the fans. And as it turns out, a lot of our players embrace it and, want to live, work, and play there.
Stephen, I got to ask you real quick, how much fun are you having? I mean, you guys walk around, we always talk about Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, but with all the difficulties of running an NFL football team, you guys look like you're having a blast.
Oh, well, you just, it doesn't feel like work. I can tell you that because, we love it. We enjoy it. We look forward to all aspects of it, whether it's going to training camp to kick off another big year. Certainly during the seasons, just, it's outstanding. It's stressful. the games themselves. But I think Tex once told Jerry it'd be a great business if you didn't have to play the games. We're promoting the team all the time, and we're pretty good at that, promoting the star and the team. And we've just got to get one of these rings. And I know that's at the very top of the number one boss around here is to get a championship. And our fans deserve that. We've not gotten it done, in quite some time. So that's at the top of our priority list.
Stephen Jones here on the Blitz. Always appreciate the time.
Great being on.
Appreciate it. Stephen
Thank you
Jones.
so much,
We're
Steve.
back
Appreciate it.
after this on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star is your new home for Monday Night Football this fall. But that's not all. How about Monday night, Sunday night, Thursday night, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Saturdays in December, the playoffs, and Super Bowl 58 in Vegas?
How about